So in Week 8 of the NFL season, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Baltimore Ravens 28-24. After the win, Pittsburgh is now 7-0, and the Ravens are 5-2. Now, the biggest takeaway from this game is that the Ravens quarterback, Lamar Jackson, is still finding his identity as a quarterback. The Ravens lost by 4 points, by the way, on a day where Lamar Jackson had 4 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and 2 fumbles. It's a big deal. And I know this is going to be kind of crazy. It's going to make people mad. I don't mind it. It's what I really believe, is that I think Lamar Jackson is right on the edge and right on the fringe of becoming an elite quarterback, breaking through and becoming what I would call an elite NFL quarterback. And, I mean, Lamar made some great throws in this game, great plays, in fact, in general. He had a corner out for a touchdown to Miles Boykin, great ball to the left corner. He had a throw for a touchdown rolling right on the goal line to Marquise Brown. That's a smart play call. I love any time you get Lamar Jackson outside of the pocket, on the perimeter, on the goal line, because what it does is the defense has to go, well, we got to worry about the routes behind us in the pass, but if we leave too much room to defend the pass, Lamar Jackson's going to take off and run for a touchdown. And so you have to worry about Lamar running, and it's a hard thing to do as a defense to worry about Lamar running and worry about the throw behind them. I love any time you get Lamar Jackson rolling out on the goal line. And Lamar Jackson is still getting better. Every time I watch Lamar, I go, yeah, that's better than the last time I saw him. So that is really, really important. Anybody who's hard on Lamar, he's growing. He's a young quarterback who's still learning and still getting better. We forget that Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady he's in his 20th year in the NFL, I believe. Think of how much more experience a quarterback like Big Ben, Tom Brady, Drew Brees has on a young guy like Lamar Jackson. And forget years in the NFL. How many more years they've played the quarterback position, period. There are things that Tom Brady never second guesses, never worries about, because he's done it for so long. Lamar Jackson is still a young, developing quarterback. I've got no problem with Lamar. And I know I love that he was in Week 3 against the Kansas City Chiefs. One of my big criticisms was that I was really, baffled why Lamar Jackson wasn't extending plays and using his legs to keep plays alive. If there's nobody open and there's no pressure on you, don't get rid of the ball. Hang on to the ball, get to the perimeter, keep the play alive. And against Pittsburgh, that's exactly what Lamar Jackson did. I went, yes, that's awesome. That's a big deal. And, I think he did a ton of good stuff against Pittsburgh, but the negative plays are starting to hold Lamar Jackson back. At least they still are holding Lamar Jackson back. There are times where it looks like he is second-guessing himself. And that's why I say that he's still finding his identity as a quarterback. Russell Wilson, the Seattle Seahawks quarterback, he knows exactly who he is as a quarterback. There's no question. When he runs, he knows what he's doing. He's not worried. He's not second-guessing anything. Russell Wilson is very confident in his identity as a quarterback. He runs, he slides, he avoids getting hit. There's no questions. There's no second thought. I think Lamar Jackson has a ton of noise in his head, where he's got all this pressure. When he entered the league, people said he's not very good at throwing the ball. I was one of those people. And I think Lamar hears those voices and is eager to show, no, I'm not just a runner. Lamar wants to show the world, I'm a thrower. I can win with my arm. And I totally agree. In fact, I watched Lamar go, he's a way better passer today than he even was last year. He's getting way, way better. His mechanics look better. He's working hard on everything. So I understand why Lamar is so eager to prove his improvement as a thrower. However, don't hesitate to run the football if you're Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is one of the, if not the, best athlete in the entire league. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Lamar Jackson has a tool in his toolbox that a guy like Peyton Manning never had. Peyton Manning was really a physical liability. There's that one humorous example of Peyton Manning running for a touchdown where he fakes the run and boots left, and it looks like the dude is walking to the end zone. He's sprinting his hardest. You're like, that's all you got, old man? That's terrible. That was all. Peyton Manning was never a threat to run the football. Because Lamar Jackson has that, he has what Peyton Manning had, and more, in theory, like potential. So Lamar Jackson should never second guess or shy away from running the football. But unfortunately, I think he is. He's starting to second guess everything. And, I think he's eager to prove himself as a thrower. And I understand that, but it's hurting him that he's still finding his identity as a quarterback. Now, the second interception Lamar Jackson threw on Sunday, I want to talk about the first because the second one was just kind of it was a bad decision. A defender was waiting for the ball. Lamar's throw, there's not really any nuance there. It's just a bad decision and a throw that should never be made. But the first interception Lamar Jackson threw is one I want to talk through because there's subtle nuance that I think needs to be learned here, especially if you're a young quarterback listening. This is huge. It was a stop route against zone coverage, meaning that, in this situation, a receiver, as they come to a stop, they should never be sitting in the window waiting for the football. And Lamar was a bit late. I mean, the ball should be thrown as the receiver breaks down at the top of their drop, at the top of their route, as they set on the window, as they break down to stop. Lamar needs to throw the ball here. And because he was late, by the time Lamar threw the ball, Steelers linebacker Robert Spillane was sitting waiting for the throw. He undercut the pass. Bam. Pick six for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a touchdown for Pittsburgh. And actually, I want to give a shout out to the Steelers linebacker Robert Spillane. That's awesome. He had a pick six. He had a fumble recovery. Robert Spillane had 11 tackles on the day, 1 tackle for loss, 2 passes defended. Robert Spillane killed it on Saturday. That's a name I'd never really known about. Robert Spillane, well done, you fine sir. That's a really good performance as a linebacker. Now, look, this game literally came down to the final seconds. It came down to the final throw. Lamar Jackson threw a final pass to the end zone. And I think Big Ben is better than people realize. Big Ben had a really great throw to Chase Claypool for a touchdown. But the Steelers' offense really, really struggled early on in this game. And the Ravens had 4 turnovers, and they only lost by 4 points. That's rare. It's rare you get Lamar Jackson to turn over the ball. A former MVP to turn over the ball 4 times in an NFL game. So 4 weeks from now, you may not know, in week 12 of the NFL season, we're getting a rematch of this game. Ravens, Baltimore, in Pittsburgh playing against the Steelers. Ravens at Steelers. And it's anyone's game in my opinion. I'm really curious to see what happens. I don't know who's going to win. But what I'm excited to watch is whether or not, every time I watch Lamar Jackson, he gets better and makes improvements. Can Lamar Jackson clean up his game in the month leading up to this game and clean some stuff up, play better, and win in Week 12 against the Pittsburgh Steelers? That's what I want to watch. I'm excited for the rematch between the Ravens and the Steelers a month from now.